5.6 seconds. The window the Uber ATG system had to recognize Elaine Herzberg in Tempe, Arizona, March 2018. 3 reclassifications in that span: unknown object, then vehicle, then bicycle. Each label reset the trajectory prediction. Emergency braking was determined necessary 3 seconds before impact. At 43 miles per hour, the laws of physics had already decided the outcome. This is not an isolated accident. The $5 million settlement, the crews dragging, and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's probe of 2.9 million Tesla vehicles are systemic indicators of the same root failure, a perception logic gap. Probabilistic, label-based AI systems cannot maintain stable world representations under the entropy of physical environments. The stochastic wrapper cannot survive contact with the physical world. A different architecture is required. In label-based perception systems, each inference cycle is a near-independent classification event. There is no persistent object state, only an assignment of the nearest label to the nearest cluster of sensor returns. When the label changes, the trajectory prediction resets. The cruise system's post-impact logic exemplifies the ceiling. After a third party, Nissan struck a pedestrian and launched her into the vehicle's path. The cruise car stopped, then misdiagnosed the collision as a side impact. The pedestrian had disappeared from the perception layer. The system's minimal risk condition maneuver activated: pull over, clear traffic. The vehicle dragged her 20 feet at 7 miles per hour. The wheel slip that eventually stopped it was classified as a mechanical fault, not a human obstruction. The architectural response is the bird's-eye view occupancy network. Rather than assigning labels to objects, the system produces a unified 3D voxel grid of the physical environment. The governing transform, X sub BEV equals F sub transformer applied to camera inputs I1 through IN, and the LiDAR point cloud L cloud. Every cubic region in the scene is assigned an occupancy probability, whether or not the system can identify what occupies it. 3 properties follow from this design. Object permanence. The system tracks occupied volume, not object labels. The classification can flip unknown, vehicle, bicycle, and the voxel remains occupied. Trajectory prediction continues without interruption. Geometric fidelity. The 3D grid captures vertical structure. The pedestrian pinned under the chassis. The debris profile on a flooded roadway. The vertical geometry of a traffic signal arm. Structures that a 2D stitched image loses in the projection step. Spatial consistency. BEV former's temporal self-attention maintains a memory of where an object was during a 1-second occlusion behind a parked truck. The scene is not reconstructed from scratch each frame. The formal verification layer operates above the perception network. Tools like Marabou represent the neural network as a set of piecewise linear constraints and pose the question: does there exist any fog condition input under which the braking output falls below the minimum acceptable value? The safety property. For all x in the fog saturation domain, the braking function f of x must be greater than or equal to braking minimum. If Marabou returns a counterexample, a specific perturbation that breaks the guarantee, the model is hardened during training. This is verification-aware training, not testing, proof. The empirical record makes the engineering argument unavoidable. The NTSB found that the Uber ATG system had deactivated the Volvo factory collision avoidance and automatic emergency braking systems entirely. The $5 million settlement followed. The cruise pedestrian was dragged 20 feet at 7 miles per hour. Crews paid a $500,000 criminal fine for submitting false reports to the NHTSA. California revoked GM Cruise's operating permit in 2023. Between 2024 and 2025, the NHTSA opened over 40 inquiries into Tesla full self-driving crashes. Investigations PE 24-031 and PE 25-012 together covering 2.9 million vehicles. 18 separate complaints documented Tesla systems failing to remain stopped at red lights. 4 or more reports described illegal turns from through-only lanes. On the benchmark side, Waymo logged 56 million miles with injury rates below human drivers. But during a 2025 power outage in Los Angeles, dozens of Waymo robotaxis entered multi-agent gridlock at darkened intersections. Unable to coordinate without central command, in early 2025, Waymo vehicles were set on fire during civil unrest. A solitary autonomous agent is not a complete solution. ISO 21448, the safety of the intended functionality standard, and ISO/PAS 8800, published in late 2024, together form the primary global framework for functional safety of AI in road vehicles. They cover the full AI lifecycle: data acquisition, model validation, post-deployment monitoring. The EU AI Act and the NIST AI Risk Management Framework are converging on the same requirements. An enterprise deploying probabilistic wrappers in physical environments is not managing a technology risk. It is accumulating a deferred liability, one that materializes as a federal investigation, a revoked permit, a $500,000 criminal fine, or a wrongful death settlement in the tens of millions. The $5 million settlement was not a reason to abandon autonomous AI. It was a reason to engineer it correctly. The era of stochastic AI is ending. Read the 12-page brief, approximately 17 minutes. The paper documents the NTSB classification oscillation findings, the BEV former occupancy architecture, Marabou-based formal verification, and the ISO/PAS 8800 compliance roadmap. Deterministic assurance begins with the decision to demand it.